Okay, picture this. You're sound asleep, it's 2 in the morning, and suddenly you hear it. That unmistakable, terrifying sound of rushing water. Yep, a pipe just burst in your home. Panic sets in instantly, right? Water is pooling on the floor, it's creeping towards your furniture, and honestly, every single second feels like an absolute hour. But here's the thing. In that exact moment of midnight chaos, panic is your worst enemy. What you actually need right then and there is a calm, first responder mindset. You need a rock-solid game plan to stop the damage dead in its tracks.
So, welcome to this explainer. I'm so thrilled you're here with us because today we're taking one of the absolute most stress-inducing emergencies a homeowner can face, and we're turning it into a completely manageable, step-by-step action plan. We're drawing directly from the expert guidance of smart housing systems to build what we like to call the Midnight Plumbing Survival Guide. By the end of our time together, you'll know exactly how to protect your home when your plumbing decides to fight back.
Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap. We've got 5 sections today. First, safety and quick triage. Then, stop the water flow. Third is handling specific plumbing scenarios, followed by containment and documentation. And finally, calling the emergency plumber.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Safety and Quick Triage. This is all about neutralizing those immediate dangers.
You know, in any emergency, human nature tells us to just rush blindly toward the problem, but we absolutely must hit pause. Your physical safety has to be prioritized above all else, literally, before you even think about grabbing a wrench or a wet towel. Look, if water is anywhere near electrical outlets, appliances, or exposed wiring, do not stand in that water. Your very first move is to go straight to your breaker box and shut off the power to those affected areas. Electricity and water are a deadly combination for sure. Also, if you suspect sewage is involved, like, say, a backed-up line, you've got to take extra precautions. Ventilate the space to clear out harmful fumes, throw on gloves if you have them, and most importantly, keep your kids and pets far, far away from the contamination zone. Only when the area is totally safe to navigate do we move on to the next step.
Moving right along to Section 2, Stop the Water Flow. This is the absolute fastest way to win. The clock is ticking, water is pouring out, and every single gallon equals more property damage. So, controlling that water flow is your absolute fastest way to start winning this battle. Now, what's really interesting here is that you basically have 2 primary options, and knowing exactly which valve to turn can literally save your entire house from flooding. On the left, we've got the main shutoff valve. This is the big one, usually located near your water meter or where the main line enters the building. If you've got a burst pipe in the wall, you go straight here and turn it clockwise to close it. That stops all water to the entire house. On the right, though, is the individual supply valve. If your emergency is localized, like maybe a washing machine hose or a leaky sink, you don't need to shut down the whole house. Just find that small supply valve right behind the fixture or along the wall and shut it off there.
But hang on, just turning off the valve doesn't mean the danger is completely over. Even after you turn off the water, your pipes are still full of water under pressure. To stop that remaining water from doing more damage, you need to follow these 3 simple steps. Step 1, shut off the water, which we just did. Step 2, open the lowest faucet in your home. Why? Well, this relieves the built-up pressure and empties the line safely into a sink or tub, rather than letting that leftover water force its way out of the leak. And then, once the line is fully drained, step 3, just close the faucet. Okay, let's take a breath here and transition into Section 3, Handling Specific Plumbing Scenarios. We're going to tame the big 3 monsters.
This brilliantly illustrates exactly what to do and what not to do for the most common scenarios. First up, the burst pipe. Immediate action, turn off the main water. What not to do? Please don't attempt to repair the pipe with adhesives if it's still under pressure. It just won't hold and you'll likely make a much bigger mess. Next, the overflowing toilet. Immediate action is shutting off the valve right behind the bowl. Now, as for what not to do, look, we all know that universal, totally desperate urge to just keep flushing to see if it miraculously fixes itself, or to plunge it like our life depends on it. Don't do it. Don't flush again, and avoid aggressive plunging if the water is rapidly rising, or you're just going to push sewage straight onto your floor. Finally, the backed up drain. Immediate action, stop using water in that area. Don't run the dishwasher or the laundry on that same line. And, crucially, don't blindly pour chemical cleaners down there. It's often so much better to just wait for a plumber rather than complicating the blockage or creating dangerous fumes.
Real quick, I do want to briefly highlight water heaters because they are a very special case. If you see leaks around your tank or notice the floor around it is mysteriously damp, you are dealing with a potentially highly dangerous mix of water, heat, and either electricity or natural gas, so you absolutely must shut off the power or gas supply according to the unit's controls, turn off the water supply to the heater itself, and then immediately call for service.
Which brings us to Section 4, Containment and Documentation. Shifting gears from crisis to control.
Okay, so the water is stopped and the immediate hazards are neutralized. Take a deep breath. You are now fully in control. Now, even if you still feel totally rushed or stressed, taking a few quick actions right now will save a massive amount of time later. Document everything. Take crystal clear photos or short videos of the problem area, making sure to show the leak source and any visible damage. Note the exact timeline. When did it start? Has it gotten worse? And definitely write down exactly what you've tried so far, like noting which specific valves you shut, or if you tried using a plunger. Having all of this documented while the memory is completely fresh makes the plumber's job significantly faster and way more precise when they finally arrive.
And hey, while you're waiting for the professionals to show up, you can actually start some safe, early drying efforts to mitigate serious property damage. Step 1. Move your valuables out of the affected zone, but only if you can do so safely. Step 2. For larger leaks, physically pull the carpets away from the wet areas to prevent deep soaking. Step 3. If you have them handy, run fans or a dehumidifier to start pulling moisture out of the air and off the surfaces. But remember our golden rule from earlier? Absolutely avoid using any electrical tools anywhere near the wet areas.
Let's move to our final step and see how this builds into Section 5, calling the emergency plumber. It's time to bring in the cavalry.
You've done the triage, you've contained the mess, and now it's time to bring in the local experts to actually fix the disaster. When you're looking for that 24/7 cavalry, you need a team that's always ready to go. The source material for our explainer today comes from Smart Housing Systems, Inc. They actually offer a 24/7 dispatcher at 224-754-1984, specifically serving residents in the North Shore and northwest suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. So whether it's the dead of night or a holiday weekend, these are the pros equipped to handle it.
Now, when you actually make that call, whether it's to them or your own local plumber, don't just panic and yell, "Help, there's water everywhere." Feeding these specific details to the dispatcher guarantees they bring the exact right tools and the right game plan directly to your door. Tell them, is the water successfully shut off? Which specific fixture or pipe is actually affected? Are there any obvious signs of sewage? Is the leak actively gushing right now, or is it kind of intermittent? And lastly, make sure to clarify your building type. An apartment has very different plumbing constraints and shutoff access compared to a detached house.
So, what does this all mean? The absolute crucial point here, your golden rule to summarize everything, is this. Stop the water, reduce risk, document what happened, and get qualified help as quickly as possible. Honestly, if you can just remember that sequence, you can navigate practically any plumbing nightmare thrown your way. Take a moment today, right now, while things are dry and calm, to physically go locate your main shutoff valve. Check to see if your emergency plumber's number is actually saved in your phone. Because if disaster strikes tonight, is your home really ready for a midnight emergency? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and stay prepared.